Kentucky's fallen on some tough times lately. Look at their their game's not even close. My point is, when you study that, what do you see that you're going to try to continue to make sure that they add one more loss?
Yeah, they've had some injuries and just had another injury late. What I can tell you about Kentucky is that they play extremely, extremely hard. They are second in the league in steals per game, and they're really aggressive. And so even though they've had their challenges, they play extremely hard. They're very, very tough. And three of their players are in the top 20 in our league in scoring. So they've got some individual players who can really get off and do some things. So what we've got to do, number one, is take care of the basketball and handle their pressure. We've got to be able to get open and not play, on the perimeter all night long, meaning they have a tendency to pressure you so much where you're running your offense further out than what you like to. So we've got to be disciplined and making sure we catch the ball where we want to so we can be in scoring position to do some things and take care of the basketball. And then defensively, we've got to be really good against their guards. Robin Benton is an elite guard, and once she gets going, she can score it in bunches, and it's really good. She's a veteran player in this league. So we've got to be solid on both ends of the floor. And to be honest, in terms of their record and their challenges, I mean, we have the worst record in the league, so I don't think we look at anybody as this is going to be an easy game for us because we're at 14 the way it stands right now. So shame on us if we approach any game thinking it's going to be easier or light. And you didn't say that, but this is going to be a hard game for us. Yeah.
Last home game for Aaliyah and Mackenzie. Speak about what they've meant for your team this year.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I said it when we had our senior night, which was a while back. But you talk about two players who came here and got a different experience than what they thought they were going to get just from last year. And then obviously having a new coach, they obviously didn't come here to play for me. And we've challenged them in a lot of ways. You talk about Mackenzie, who was almost a 3,000 point scorer coming out of high school. Aaliyah Patty, who obviously had some goals offensively to do some things, and she's reached some of those. And we asked them to, step outside of that and think about something else. How can you identify yourself and help this team outside of being a scorer, outside of on the floor? What can you do off the floor? How can you enhance your leadership ability? And just think outside of self and also to be more self-aware. That's something that we've challenged all of our players to do. And when it's your last year, it's really easy to think about me and to think about I'm doing what's best for me. And both of them have tried their best to do everything we've asked them to do to not only lead this team, but to help this team and to put team before self. And so we're harder on them probably than a lot of other people, because I do know that the real world is waiting for them. And so shame on us if we don't challenge them in that way and try to prepare them. But super proud of how they've handled themselves this year and how they've tried to do everything we've asked. We're going to miss them greatly.
How about we always talk about you want to win every game.
Yeah.
But as a senior, your last home game, as a player, do you remember if you
Oh,
won
gosh,
your
yes.
last game?
I don't remember. Tells you how old I'm getting.
I shouldn't ask that, but there's added significance to
It definitely is. There's an added significance to it. And I do remember my last home game being our senior night and being celebrated in that way, and just the memories that you have, and you kind of want to go out in the right way. It's definitely a different feeling. Yeah.
Coach, I have a question.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Sorry about the last time I was here. I think I interrupted Robert.
Oh.
I didn't mean to do that.
Always interrupt me.
I was going to ask you about some academic stuff at the end, and I know it's off the wall, so I was going to let you kind of think about it just a little bit. We do a classroom champion segment, and we talk about high school student athletes that excel athletically and academically. And I just wanted some advice that you would give them going to college. So I'll ask you that in a little bit, but just it being Kentucky, and you kind of talked about, what they do well. What are some of the things that you feel like your team can do better to be able to walk off the court, the last home game with a win?
Well, I think what we can do better is take care of the basketball. I think we can continue to be consistent in how we show up for 4 quarters. It's been a minute since we put 4 quarters together. And I think we've got a distinct size advantage. And so if we can take advantage of that and go inside and play inside out, I think that gives us an advantage as well. And it puts us in a great place to do as much as we can to be successful. The other area where I feel like we need to continue to push ourselves and to get better is just our transition offense. We've got to be able to score some points before the defense can get back and get set. When you're trying to play against a set defense all night long, it's extremely difficult. And so if we can get back to running a little bit more and taking opportunities to run and score in transition, those things will help us greatly.
How quick has this season flown by that we're now talking about the last home game of the regular season?
I always feel that way. I feel like when it's over, I feel like it's so far away, and then it's here, and it's like, where did the time go? Like, where is it? It always goes by so fast. Time waits for no one.
Well, then I'll ask you my academic
Okay.
question. When you're talking to high school seniors, what do you tell them, as they're making the transition from high school to college in terms of, what they need to focus on academically, and, obviously they're coming to be an athlete as well.
Right. So the first thing we talk to them about academically, because that is what's most important, is we find out if they know what they want to major in. And if they do, we try to put them in the best position to prepare for that and just talk about how they need to prepare and start managing your time now. The more you can learn how to manage your time when you are at home before you come to us, the better shape you're going to be in, because you're not going to have your mom waking you up, feeding you, washing your clothes. Those things you got to figure out for yourself. And so start managing your time. Own one of those areas, whether it's waking up yourself, washing your own clothes, managing your time. Pick one of those areas to own. And then, we recruit conscientious students academically. So then our conversation becomes just how hard that's going to be, the grind of it, and just making sure that they take that seriously. If they don't know what they want to major in, that's fine too. A lot of students don't. Or if they think they do, they get here and change their mind. And so then it's getting the resources in front of them from our life skills center and from our academic center to make sure that they have options and they can start reading through options so they can be in a better position to know when they get here, so they're not so stressed and worried about that. From a basketball standpoint, we tell them to be in the best shape they can be in. Basketball is different. The language is different, but basketball is the same. But we may call a down screen something different than what they call it. So the terminology and the verbiage is something that they all have to adjust to. But the pace of the game, if you ask anybody who's transitioned from high school to college, one of the first things you hear them say is the pace, the time. Because we have restrictions on how long we can practice. So we don't have time to walk from one drill to the next. And we don't have time to explain this drill today that we explained 2 days ago. After we've explained it twice, you need to know where it is, where it sets up, how many balls we need, and let's get into it. And so the pace of everything is just much faster. And we tell all of our young players, if you're focusing on breathing, then you can't hear anything that we're saying, and you can't take anything that we're trying to teach you. If you can breathe pretty well and you've got oxygen flowing, then you can absorb what it is we're saying and you catch on a lot faster. So that all starts with conditioning. Conditioning, and then everything you do, make sure it's game speed. From the shots you take to how you come off screens, how you set screens, all of it just needs to be game speed. Sometimes you hear people talk about get up 200 shots a day, or I make 250 shots a day, but what does that look like? And is it game speed and how you do it? So those are the things that in those two areas we really, try to talk about the most.
I know it was off the wall. Thank you very much.
Oh gosh, no problem.
Sweet. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.